All right, we're here. Dodger Blue Balls, we're back, baby. I'm here with Plum.
We're back,
We
baby.
have an emergency pod. Um, it's been a long time coming, obviously. We talked about the off season, we talked about all that, but it's the start of a new year. We're a couple weeks in. Um, I'll throw it to you, but I'll just say I'm frustrated watching this team this year. Something's off,
I
and
know
I
we
can't.
uh we missed all the good we missed all the good stuff from the first couple weeks. Now we just got to dive in when it's at the bottom. It feels like
That's what we do. All angles for this
it's not
podcast.
fun to talk about the good stuff. Anybody can say, "Hey, they're playing great, they're winning ball games."
It's too easy.
When we get to pile on, it's yeah, the last couple weeks have not been fun to watch. I mean, I think the pitch for the most part pretty darn solid. Let me rephrase that. The starting pitching for the most part has been pretty darn solid. The bullpen still is iffy on a day-to-day basis, but the starting pitching has been solid. But man, the bats just seem to have disappeared. I will say, I am not watching every at bat of every game. I wish I was, but I'm not. But when I do, get to watch, especially watch for an extended period, it seems to me like they're all pressing. Maybe the only one I don't see pressing is Max. He's the only one that seems to take pretty consistently, solid swings at pitches in the zone, but it feels like everybody else is pressing. And they seem like they feel how poorly they've hit. Everybody looks unhappy. There's just and I was watching the other night and Freddie was at the plate and he fouled off a pitch. And just the look of like disgust with himself after he fouled off the pitch was like, and these guys are not enjoying this at all. And certainly we're not enjoying watching right now either. It's not a lot of fun. It's not a lot of fun to watch them, consistently waste opportunities, give away what feels like giveaway at bats. And I hate to say that it's not a lack of focus. I really do think it's a pressing thing. So it's not for lack of caring. It's for probably caring too much and trying too hard. Um, there's an old, you know, the way we used to look at it when we were pitching is, you get in trouble and you try to throw harder to get out of the inning. Well, no, that doesn't do it. Trying to throw harder does not get you out of the inning. Trying to swing harder and hit the ball, hard. I'm not saying you're not trying to hit the ball hard every at bat, but going up there thinking I've got to get a hit this time. I've got to hit the ball hard isn't just it. Then you're pressing, you're trying too hard. You got to go up there and stay with what you know, stay with what works, even when it's not working. And they just don't seem to be doing that right now. And it's not a lot of fun. It's not a lot of fun to watch.
The $60 million man, he's the epitome to me of a big time free agent comes to a new team and is the ultimate tryhard. That's what it looks
Yeah,
like. That's what it
yeah.
feels like. Um, Tucker just needs to kind of relax and not, he's trying to do too much. Um,
It
but
does feel like the last week or so he's started to barrel the ball up more, and maybe he's feeling more settled with the new team. I don't know what it is, but it does feel like it's starting to come around a little bit for him. Still not a lot of power, still not hitting a lot of a whole lot of home runs, but it does feel like he's better at bats and yeah, and putting the barrel on the ball a lot more frequently.
yeah, especially, yes, exactly. The last 2 weeks, I would say.
Yeah.
But when your team batting average is what, 230 maybe, uh, you
Over
gotta,
the last few weeks, I mean, they were at 275 maybe 2.5 weeks ago. The team batting average, it
yeah,
was the highest in baseball, and it's just, I mean, it's fallen off the cliff. It's fallen off a cliff.
yeah,
So,
I don't,
I mean, it's interesting because we've gotten some, maybe not over the last couple of weeks, though Max has continued to hit kind of all season. But we've gotten, Max has certainly hit for a higher average, and more power even than he typically does. Pai's had a ridiculous start to the season. I mean, insane. And, not to say that he's not a good hitter and that we wouldn't have expected him to hit well, but to hit like that is a totally different level. Um, but just the guys that, Will Smith's middling, Shohei's been rough.
Gross at best.
Yeah, yeah. Freddie's not hitting for a whole lot of power, and it's down the lineup. I mean, Miggy's hit well, but in limited plate appearances. Obviously Mookie's out for a while, but wasn't hitting before he hit the IL. So yeah, it's been somehow they're still right there, if not in first place. I think they were down half a game out as of this morning, but they're right, still right there. Um, it was funny over the weekend. They had the Braves over the weekend, and they came out Friday night and played great, and then just completely shut down the offense Saturday and Sunday. And of course, Friday night was
Man,
against
mailed it
Chris
in.
Sale, who's
Yeah.
won the Cy Young 2 years ago, was really good last year, has been really good this year, and of course they come in and beat him up, and you feel like, all right, maybe that's some momentum, get back on track, and then they come out Saturday and Sunday, and the offense does nothing against the starter. They scored two empty runs in both games towards the end of the game, and that's I don't know. It feels like that's been their kind of their MO over the last few months, or not few months, few weeks. It's not a lot of
It's
fun.
I, what was it last night? First inning, bases loaded, no outs, score a single run.
Get one.
Bottom eight, bases loaded, one out, score no runs, and you're
Yep.
down one. I'm just like, dude, what are we
Yeah.
doing? What are we
Yeah.
doing? So
It's
just
it.
stuff. It happens. It's a long season. I get that. Panic. The panic button is not being pressed, but it's alarming that with a lineup that deep. I mean, obviously, Paul has the way he's come out of the gates. If he continues this the rest of the season, he's probably the MVP of the league because he's been
Right.
that good. But um, it's alarming that all of these guys are all well below their averages. They look so bad. Like you said, it's just non-competitive at bats. It, your numbers can struggle, but are you hitting the ball hard? Is it just
Yeah.
bad luck? Whatever it may be, but you can't even point to that. Honestly, like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the problem.
I do feel like over the last few years, and this isn't a criticism. I think it's just something that is notable, and this is just based on my recollection, not no research here, but it feels like they are not a very good situational hitting team. And you don't need to get up there and be bunting or hit and running all the time, but you got to go up there and look, man. You got a runner on third and less than 2 outs. You got to figure out a way to put the ball in play. If it's put the ball, hit the ball in the air to the outfield, or if there's not a force, not a double play in effect, put the ball on the ground. I'm not saying that they're not trying to do that, but what I am saying is it feels like that offense has so much firepower that they don't necessarily feel like they need to get better at their situational hitting. And most of the time they don't. When the offense is running well, they don't need to just try to put the ball in play. Yeah. And try to drive the ball in the gap, try to hit the ball over the fence, whatever it is. But when the offense is struggling, that's the time you need to be better with, look, man, I'm not barreling everything up right now. So I need to do my job and put a ball in play and move a runner over. Not to say that you don't want to start barreling up everything, but that is when offense goes into slumps, when the big guns aren't hitting and they're not doing the little things to move runners over and just manufacture runs. Um, not again, I don't want to say that I don't want them trying to hit the ball hard all the time. They need to do that too. But again, when you're not going well, you need to figure out a way to get it done. Even if that's even if it's a ground out to second base that moves a runner to third, do your job.
Yeah, I mean, in the basketball context, right? Like you're a three-point shooter, you're not making three, you better go to the basket. You better
Yeah,
get to the free throw line and
yeah,
and then that gets you in rhythm or something.
right.
Baseball, it's, take a walk, get on base,
Mm,
hit the ball the other way one time, something. So,
yeah.
yeah, it's just the non-competitive at bats, the consistent. And I'll just say, like the ugliness of the way it's looked like in Colorado,
Hmm.
this series against the Giants, like it's I don't it's
Yeah.
looked pathetic. I don't know I'm not trying to be a
And
prisoner of the moment.
so many double plays,
Uh,
so many double plays,
it's
and that is so frustrating to watch.
and then,
It's exhausting to
there's
watch.
granted they're not playing with the full deck of cards. Mookie's been hurt. Now
Yeah,
Diaz is out for 2+ months with um elbow fragments that they removed, which I don't know how that doesn't show up on the medical when you get
great
signed.
question.
I'm not a medical expert, although I've
Did you stay at Holiday Inn Express last night?
yeah, represented a few in my day, but weird things happen, but I don't think it would be the first time you would have some pain in his elbow as a baseball pitcher, but um, it's that's concerning, but all the reports are good and they were taken care of or whatever, and he should be back in July or whatever. But
Kind of hope it was there at the beginning of the season because he wasn't exactly lighting the world on fire when he was throwing. I mean, his first few outings were solid, but
yeah,
I'm kind of hoping that maybe that started a few outings before he said anything or before he got put on the IL because he looked a little rough there for a bit. Um, but I don't expect that to be a continuing problem once he comes back. He's just
no,
been too good for too long.
no. And then, they've made some other, moves on the margins. They sent Freeland down, which was the right call. Kim's been hitting better. He's more versatile, I guess. Definitely better on the base paths.
Yeah,
I would say he's
and
a better
back
fielder. So,
Yeah, I mean, and he can play shortstop, which Alex Freeland, I mean, is capable of doing, but he's not a good shortstop, and Kim is. But back to the bullpen for a second. The only the kind of the upside here is Tanner Scott's been fantastic. It seems like he's back to where he was in 24 when he raked the Dodgers over the coals in the playoffs. Um,
hand
you
up,
know,
hand up. Already, I was all on his case last year.
yeah, absolutely. He was terrible
I'm
last year.
I'm officially off that train, and I apologize to Mr. Scott. Yeah,
No,
he
he was terrible last year, but he's been fantastic this year. And I mean, it just feels like there's no outside of him and until was it last night or the night before the Alex Vesia blow up. Vesia had been awesome all year too because he is. He's allowed to have a bad game, and they probably weren't going to score enough runs to come back that night anyway. But it's so Scott and Vesia, but outside of that, it feels like everybody's kind of a crapshoot again.
our guy Will
And that's
Klein though. Will Klein, hey,
he's been solid. He's been
he
solid.
he had two blow up games, of
Yeah,
course, to
yeah.
be expected in fairness. But other than that, he's been pretty good. Um,
I do always love the part of the season where they start recycling relievers in and out, and I'm like, wait, who's this dude, and when did he get on the
oh
roster?
yeah, yeah.
What was it, Wyatt Mills the other night? I was like, where did this dude come from? I've
I
never
so,
heard this name before in my life.
Sometimes they bring up someone, I'm like, who is this? Like
Yeah, or
it's
Jack
just
Eater the other day.
uh,
Was it Jack or Jake Eater? Jake
Jake,
Eater.
yeah,
Yeah, that was a weird one too. And anyway, it is a fun point in the season though where you start seeing names. Wait, who? What?
yeah,
Uh, and I don't. You probably saw they traded for Alec Thomas yesterday,
yeah. I mean,
which is interesting. I don't know. Maybe they see something, along the all of the Chris Taylor, Max Muncy line where they see something they can fix and turn him into a viable major leaguer. I mean, he was a big time prospect, second round pick. So it wouldn't be shocking if they spotted something they thought they could fix, but it may just be, you know, depth that they'll keep in AAA until they need somebody. But
yeah.
it was an
But
interesting move.
you're not you're trying to lead me astray, and I'm not going to be led astray. Okay. Our
All right, what
guy
are we
who
talking
used to
about?
be our guy, Blake Trinan. I'm
Uh,
sorry, I can't do it anymore. I took myself off the Tanner Scott train. I'm back on the Tanner Scott train in the sense of I'm rooting for him. I'm happy he's doing well, but my energy is going toward Blake Trinan. He's older. He hasn't looked good. It makes you think like he can't even get an out.
yeah.
And and um
He was so good in 24, no, 25, 20, yeah, 24 for us.
23,
Um,
22, yeah, before he got hurt.
yeah, I mean, yeah, and going backwards. And last year, kind of the same way with Tanner Scott, I was willing to chalk that up to something got a whack with his mechanics or whatever it was, and it was just one of those years. And relievers, they don't throw enough innings, or they throw so few innings a lot of times that there can be a lot of volatility in those numbers or whatever. So I was willing to discount it the same way. Rough year, he'll bounce back, but this is the second year of the same thing, and yeah, I mean, he's not a young guy. I think he's 39. Um, and as they say, Father Time is undefeated. So this may be it. And that's look again. He was fantastic for us for a long time. So if this is the end of it, that's a bummer. But I hope the Dodgers realize it sooner than later, and don't just keep running him out there with the definition of insanity, doing the same thing and expecting different results.
That's-
And we're getting the same results.
he's the like break glass in case of emergency guy, and he's been that way for the last 5 years with the Dodgers, and I get that. But at what point, at
Yeah,
what point is it not that anymore? And that's
yeah,
okay. Like he did his
right.
job and he's made his money and he was outstanding at what he did for a long time. But comes a point in time as a professional athlete where you just don't have it anymore. And
Yeah,
it's tough to admit, and he's probably the last one that will admit it. But just watching him, he's not the same guy.
no,
He doesn't have the same movement.
mm-mm.
When he gets put into a game, it's always honestly, and it's never with nobody on. It's always
Right.
runners on, and he's supposed to stop the bleeding. And, my wife's a nurse, and if she gave me some ointment that continued to bleed, I wouldn't use it anymore. Like it's just
Yeah, it's
a
quit. Yeah,
bad,
try something else.
he
Yeah,
doesn't, he just doesn't, I made the joke the other day in our group text, like, has he gotten an out this year? Like it just seems like he hasn't.
yeah,
It's
right.
it's been that bad.
hmm
And
It's frustrating. Yeah, and it's frustrating to see again if they wanted to move him to only low leverage situations for a bit and see if he can find it again. Fine, fine. I don't think he's going to find it again, but if that's what they want to do, but you can't keep running him out there in high leverage spots. It's just not working, and it hasn't worked for a year plus now.
I mean, and it may be just some simple thing like, hey, he's only available once a series, like once a
Yeah,
3 game series or something. Maybe it's just he can't recover
yeah,
anymore and his arm just can't take it or whatever. I don't know, but maybe it's not a simple fix, but it's something.
yeah.
And I know
Something's
it's
got to change.
early in the
The way
season,
he's being
but
used has to change. The
yeah.
way he's being used has to change. Maybe it's an adjustment. And we'll get him back to where he's reliable again. But until that happens, he cannot be used in high leverage situations.
Well, and it'd be interesting to see which starter goes to the bullpen because, Blake Snell just came back and Robleski's been awesome, which is crazy.
Feels like smoke and mirrors,
Yeah.
but it has worked. And
But
he
there's
wore one the
been,
other night. He wore that the other night against. Was that against who was that against on
it was like the
when he
Braves, wasn't it?
was that Saturday night against the Braves? He gave up
Yeah.
7 runs in 8 and 2
But that
thirds.
was, I mean, he was due. I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
Oh
but
yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
he
Well, and
was
Doc just left him
due.
out there. He was trying to save the bullpen, and he just said, "Robo." I mean, his pitch count was low enough. Just go. We're not going to win this game. Go. Keep throwing.
It wasn't the start before, but I want to say the 3 starts before, like in Colorado against the Giants in San Fran. I mean, uh, there were 3 starts there where he was like unhittable. Like I
Yeah.
don't, it was crazy. I mean, he was 5-0 or whatever, but yeah, he has been
No, he's been
dealing.
fantastic. He's been
But,
fantastic.
and I bring that up because it's interesting. Like, I don't know what they're going to do with Sasaki because he has not looked anything like he should.
No.
And he's still super young. I'm just wondering, is he not? And I'm not trying to pull the plug or have any inclination of doing that, but you just kind of in the back of your head, you're thinking like, is he actually a starter?
I do wonder that. He's developing a splitter, so he's got a third pitch. But maybe if they had more, he's not like he's contributing to whatever deficit or lead they have in the division. What I was going to say is, it feels like to me it would make sense to send him down for a couple months and let him work on his arsenal in the minors, where it's not high stakes every time he's out there, and work on some mechanical stuff. I thought it was interesting. Was watching last night when he was pitching, and I think it was Oral made a really interesting point about the way he pitches when he's with runners on base versus not, and about how when runners are on base or not on base, when base is empty, he's basically his knee gets to three different positions before he goes to the plate, and that's hard to keep consistently that way, as opposed to when a runner's on base and it's really just dropping and driving and not a bunch of extra movement in between. And he tends to throw better when runners are on base, or at least have better command. And I thought that was really interesting that Oral noticed it, pointed it out during the broadcast, and so it just feels like there's stuff that he can go down and work on where it's not high leverage stuff. It's not games that actually matter the way it does in the big league. I still think he's a kid. He's 23. He's got many years on his contract with the Dodgers and many years ahead of him in the major leagues. It makes sense to me with all of the pitching that they have. Why not flip him and River Ryan for a while, and let him go down and just get comfortable? Or why not move him down there when they get to that, when Glasnow comes back and now they've got six starters that are available. Just let him have some time to work on that stuff in a less pressurized environment. I don't know. I don't know where he ends up, but I certainly wouldn't give up on him as a starter at this point at 23, especially when he's trying to learn a couple more pitches.
No, I don't think you can. It just I think it was kind of, they only did it last year out of necessity, right?
Hmm.
Because they needed him and he was injured and then, didn't have that starter's, length in a
Hmm.
game because he wasn't able to. And so it made all the sense. But, has been working on things and stuff like that. But they have too many starters, essentially. And if Wrobleski's going to pitch this well, I mean, I think he's earned it. You can't,
Yeah.
hey, you're going to AAA, or you're
Right.
in the bullpen. I don't think they'll do that. So he's the only real guy that I think A, they have options for, but also B, that needs to work on some things. And I don't think they have a whole lot of options of what they can do because you're
Yeah.
not, especially with everyone healthy and Wrobleski pitching that way. So
Yeah. I mean, they can move Sheehan to the bullpen or send him down, but I mean, I think his stuff would play up like crazy in the bullpen. But anyway, I mean, they've got some other stuff they can do, but it just to me that makes too much sense to just send him down, give him a few months to figure some stuff out. I remember when, and he's a younger guy, but I remember when Yoshi came over. We've talked about this before in 24, and had a really hard time adjusting to the baseball because the seams are
yeah.
lower. It's a different baseball than they use in Japan. And Yoshi's got a few years of maturity, and he has more pitches than Roki does, and so maybe it was an easier. It took him a full year, but maybe it's taken Roki longer, and that's okay. But he's got to work through it to be a viable option
Yeah, just, you bring up a good point with Sheehan. Sheehan's kind of in the same spot, although he's
mm.
looked better.
Lately.
His
Yeah. Yeah.
numbers are better, but his whatever win-loss record, which for starters, I mean, that's not the end all
Doesn't
and
mean
be
much
all
anymore.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're both kind of in similar spots and Sheehan's definitely pitched better. And he's also more likely to go longer in a game, which matters at this point.
True.
So,
Yeah.
innings
Though I
and
will say, to the Dodgers' credit, their starters have the most innings pitched in all of baseball. I mean, they have given them as much more length than anybody else has. Obviously part of that's the quality of those starters, but feels like this is a big flip from the last couple of years where they were, 5 innings and done. They're pushing them longer, which I find interesting. Maybe it's because they have the six-man rotation, so they're getting that extra day off, so they can feel a little more comfortable letting them go a little longer. But that's been nice to see, especially with the bullpen struggles. Is the less we have to use a few of those guys, the better. Now it hasn't helped out in the last couple of weeks, but that's not a starting pitching issue. That's a bullpen, I mean, a lineup issue.
And I was so pumped to watch Blake Snell come back and um, being pumped, that probably lasted an inning and a third. After
Sounds about
that,
right.
yeah, after that,
Ah,
um,
he's pulling a Blake Snell. He does it every year. He starts off rough until
granted,
he gets,
yeah,
yep,
he doesn't
yeah,
really
and then all
start
of a sudden he's
pitching
lights out.
until mid-June.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Uh,
what he does every year. So it is what it
Dodgers
is.
uh, highlight of the night, Dodgers just won 4-0.
Oh, good.
So here we go.
Mookie
Um,
hit his first home run since he's been back.
did he raised
Santiago
his
Espinal hit his first home run as a Dodger.
he raised his average to a buck 80.
Heck yeah.
So
Better than it was yesterday.
yeah. Uh
Interesting that they're giving Shohei 3 days in a row off from hitting. Did you see that?
I did. It's because he's been so
Yeah. Yeah, but I
he's
just find it interesting that
swinging
they made that decision. Yeah.
he's swinging out of his shoes.
Yeah. Now,
Ev
it was good to see him last night, drive the ball the other way to left center and hit a ball out. But I don't think it's a bad play. It's just interesting. I'm surprised that they made that call.
No, but normally when someone's in a huge slump like that and you see them do something that they're not normally
Hmm.
doing, and then what does he goes immediately back. Like his next
Yeah.
at bat was a strikeout and he's swinging out of his shoes and trying to pull
Yeah.
everything. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
well,
No, I don't mind the reset at all. It's just, I was surprised they made that decision. We
yeah.
haven't even touched on maybe the best hitter on the Dodgers this year, Dalton Rushing.
Well, I
The
was
best
gonna
April
save that.
hitter.
I
The
would
best,
say, well, there's something more intriguing about Dalton rushing. So I don't know
yeah.
if you're a
Yeah.
social media guy, because I'm not really, but
Uh-huh.
I I have an interesting algorithm, and it
Uh-huh.
the algorithm I keep getting sent is is Dalton Rushing enemy number one in Major League
Yeah.
Baseball.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's hilarious.
I do too. I mean, he does kind of seem like a prick, but he's our prick. I mean, he's had some interesting moments over the first month and a half of the season, but I don't know. You can get away with it when you're hitting 450, and
I
every other swing goes out of the yard. Now it hasn't happened the last couple weeks, but yeah, that was an interesting twist.
He's definitely not as good of a catcher as Will Smith,
No,
but
no,
he's been way better than Will Smith at the plate this year.
yeah,
So, and it's not even close, but I mean, you know, he deserved every bit of probably getting thrown at in the ribs, and he even said as much after the game.
yep.
Uh, which I thought, hey, he
You
owned
earned
it.
it.
He owned it.
Yeah, you
Yeah, I
earned it and
mean,
you owned it. Yeah, absolutely.
the uh the non-spoken rules of baseball, you know?
Hmm.
But I mean, so that's the one thing with baseball. It's kind of gotten, there's obviously player safety issues, and they've increased that and stuff, and they don't want hard 90 slides anymore,
Hmm.
but I mean, that wasn't even of all the bad slides we've probably
Right.
seen,
Yeah.
the old Chase Utley ones, and I mean, my gosh.
There's been some nasty ones. I mean, if you go back to the 70s, it's like a full on like tackle out there at second
Oh,
base half the time.
yeah.
Uh, but the stuff that started the Jose Bautista Odor stuff a few years back, or Jose Ramirez and Tim Anderson, and yeah, they've certainly
About
legislated that out of the game.
Albert
What's
Bell
that?
running over the
Yeah,
Orioles second
Fernando Vina.
baseman.
It
Yeah,
was Fernando
just
Vina. Just the
giving
forearm
him,
shiver.
yeah. I mean, all of
It's not that
255 of
anymore, but I mean, I get it. These guys are paid a ton of money. The more they can protect them, the better to some extent. Obviously there's a line there where it changes the way the game's played, but I don't think requiring guys to get down and get out of the way and not tackle somebody at second base is out of line. I think that's probably the right way to regulate it.
I mean, in his, I'm not trying to defend what he did, but at the same time, he's also a guy who's a backup catcher who's
Yeah,
been playing
yeah.
really well, trying to earn a spot, earn more playing time, earn more money, and like he's gonna do things
Gonna go hard.
exactly. So
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, look, I have no problem with a hard slide to break up a double play. There's
no.
nothing wrong with that. It's just, when it's dangerous, and I'm not saying what he did was dangerous necessarily, but there's a line there, and I think everybody kind of understands where it is. Um, does that mean you don't cross it sometimes? No, but I no, there's nothing wrong with a hard slide to break up a double play.
I mean, as a Dodger fan, if you want to be upset with our backup catcher because he goes hard, I mean, hey,
Yeah. All right.
that's
Yeah.
one thing.
Okay.
Okay, yeah,
We had to
exactly.
watch Austin Barnes for a number of years, so we'll deal with we'll deal with the
Yeah.
backup catcher who can hit if he's a little bit of a jerk.
Yes. And I mean, I think honestly, if Freeman, needs some time off or
Yeah,
gets nicked up or whatever, I think Rushing is going to play a lot of first base. So,
yeah. I mean, he plays there a lot during the spring.
yeah.
They give him a good amount of work over there to make sure he's ready to go. Yeah, it wouldn't shock me to see Freddie take a couple weeks off a phantom injury of some sort. He's certainly not a spring chicken anymore either, and you can see it in his numbers. I still wouldn't trade him for just about anybody when it comes playoff time. And in a situation where you just need somebody to hit the ball hard and get a knock, I'm not sure there's anybody I'd choose over him. But it's it doesn't mean that he's not getting older and slowing down a little bit and could use a little break. Make sure he's fresh for that time of year when we really need to rely on him.
But it'll be interesting to see who they use as the DH. Otani's going to sit down for 3 days and not DH, and he had a heck of a pitching performance today. Um,
Again,
7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 8 Ks.
yeah, yeah,
So 105 pitches. Um,
You- it's ridiculous.
but it's
He's lowest ERA in baseball. I mean, and by a pretty wide margin at this point.
.82.
Yeah, it's stupid. And this
But
is a guy
it's
who won an
I
strictly based on his hitting 2 years ago.
yeah.
Strictly.
I mean, maybe he's sacrificing the hitting just for pitching this year. I mean, it seems to
I mean,
be.
maybe he still might win the MVP just as a pitcher instead of a hitter. I mean, it's we take it for granted. I think still the fact that he can do everything that he does. I don't think there's a way to quantify it.
But
Just how ridiculous it is.
I mean, who do you think is going to be the DH then?
I mean, I don't know who DH tonight. He didn't hit tonight. I didn't see who was DHing tonight. But
Teo did, and they
Teo
had
DH'd and Alex Call played left. That's
yeah,
right. I mean, I haven't looked at who they're facing on the mound, but I assume if it's a righty, Rushing will get the start tomorrow. And if it's a lefty, I don't know, maybe
Landon
Espinal.
Rope. Yeah, he's a
He's a
righty.
righty.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I expect it'll be Rushing tomorrow, unless they want to give Max a day off in the field. Um, with Mookie back, they could play Miggy at third and put High Song at second and let Muncy DH, which they may do. But and
yeah.
they may actually, if it's a day game, they may do that, and Dalton Rushing may catch tomorrow anyway. Give Will Smith the day off.
No, it's a seven
Um,
ten game.
oh, okay, well then, yeah, we'll see, we'll see. But it wouldn't shock me if this is the seventh game of seven, at least seven in a row. I think they were off last Thursday, so tomorrow's the seventh game in 7 days. So it wouldn't shock me for them to give Will Smith the day off too. Let Dalton catch tomorrow
Yeah,
and get Max off his feet for most of the day.
and then they go to Anaheim.
Which,
So,
worst record in baseball. I think they still have the worst record in baseball. So that should be a series that we dominate. But we all know how the Dodgers can play down to their opponents sometimes,
which is
as evidenced
crazy
by
because
Colorado and San Francisco.
weren't they like? I think they started the season off like 6-2 or 7-2 or something like that, and now, yeah,
Oh, they
they
had to. They were. I want to say they were like 15-4 or something. I mean, it's been rough the last couple of weeks.
yeah, they're 16-28. So they lost today.
Oh,
The
sorry, we're talking about the
Angels.
Angels. I thought we were talking about
Yeah.
the Dodgers.
Oh no. Yeah.
No, the Angels. Yeah, 16 and
Yeah.
28. Yeah, they've been
Yeah.
terrible. And yeah, they started strong. I will say it has been fun to watch Mike Trout turn into a Mike Trout light. Still taking a ton of walks, still hitting for power. The average isn't there anymore, but man, it's fun when he's playing. When he's playing, that dude is just built like Ox.
Is this the
He's
year
so
he gets
strong.
traded?
He hasn't shown any indication he wants to go anywhere. He has to, he's got a full no trade clause, so he would have to agree to it. Now, I think he'd probably want to go somewhere and win, yeah, but it doesn't seem like Artie Moreno has any interest in moving on. Um,
Well, Artie
so I,
doesn't
I
know
don't
what
know.
Artie's doing
Yeah,
because
he has no.
one day he
Yeah,
wants to trade the Angels, the next he's like,
yeah,
"No, I'm good," and then
yeah.
a couple days later he's
Artie,
like, "Oh, I'm trading them, or I'm not trading, I'm
it's a
selling
shame.
them."
It's a shame. They're an hour down the five from the Dodgers and are one of the worst run franchises in baseball and have been for a very long time. And it's a shame. I mean, not that I'm not a big Angels guy by any means, but it'd be fun if we had two good teams, that close together. But not while Artie owns the team. I can't imagine that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, whatever,
you know,
whatever.
back and forth with selling, not selling is
Yeah,
kind of funny, to be honest. Um, all right, well, we covered a lot. Uh, it needed to be said. Emergency pod sometimes kicks them in gear. Hey, it worked for one night anyway.
it
Uh,
did, it did.
Um, but you don't always have Shohei on the mound. I just the look of baseball,
Yeah,
wins losses always matter, of course. Baseball's a numbers game, but you know, the way they look and how they're playing, it's just not what we've seen in the last couple of years. And I
no,
think that was just the biggest takeaway of what I've watched the last couple of weeks. Last month really is just, yeah, the disinterest almost. And, they're almost just, hey, let's get to the playoffs and then we'll turn it
yeah,
on type
yeah.
situation. And that's always
I will
questionable.
say, two back-to-back World Series. I think they've earned the benefit of the doubt. And until they prove otherwise, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, that doesn't mean it's fun to watch right now because it's not.
And that's okay. It's
And that's
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
All
We're
right, TY.
We're equal opportunity over here. So,
That's
you know, all right.
all right, man.
Until next time, maybe we'll have
Always a pleasure.
three
We'll
of
see if we can
us.
grab a thord for next time. We may
Hey,
have to find a sub if
yeah,
Wake's not available.
we might have to do a celebrity guest or, we might have to do one of these where we do a fun little mailbag, get some questions in here, for from the fans.
Cordial, Dub,
Yeah, we
uh,
could.
uh, James. We need all your questions because we're pretty sure the only three that'll write in.
Hey, my wife's work, they actually have listened to it on at work while they're dealing with their patients and stuff, and they
Thank you to your
laugh.
wife's work.
Appreciate it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. All
Um,
right.
anyway, all right. Until next time. Good
We'll
to
talk
talk to you,
soon.
dude. All right.
All right. See you,
Later.
TY.